Okay, part two of this windshield operation. We chopped it 3 inches yesterday, but there's some fit up issues. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into making a template to support this so that both sides are even and flat for the glass. It's easy to misjudge that if you're just eyeballing it when you cut it in half like we did. So follow along and let's figure this out. All right, first things first, you can see the fit up on the inside of this is not that good. I got that putty knife put in there just to hold it. As of yesterday, what we achieved was this shot here being really nice and straight. So that's all good, but you can see there's a clear mismatch as this pillar came up. It tapered and changed shape a bit. We're not concerned about this at all, even if you were chopping the car for real, like with a full roof. The main focus is always the glass. So we got it clamped up in the top and the center where we widened it a 1/2 inch. As we lowered it, the opening, got wider in the top part of this. So one tack, but I want to be sure that the glass is going to sit in here right. So that's where we're going to come to making another wooden template similar to what we did with the bug. But this one, we were not going to form any steel over it. So again, just to hold this tape measure, because it is flat, it looks darn straight where the glass lands, but nothing's going to say proof positive like having a hard template in there. I measured this, and we're at like 14.5 in the center, 14.25, down to 14 over here. So it's about 14.25 here. That's what I mean. Once you split it, it's easy to change things around. So it's easier to shrink it than it is to stretch it. So this one's 14.25. Our tallest measurement is 14.25. So let's just split that piece in half. We don't need this glass or wood buck to come all the way to the center. So we'll use what we have. We might have enough. Yeah, we actually do, but that clamp's going to be in the way. Let's see. So either way, 14.25 by half of that. Pretty sure this is 48 because that's what I bought. Correct. 2 feet. That's half. So yeah, it looks like we will get almost a full window's worth of template. But I might just make one to save some wood. We'll see. Then we said 14.25. So you know what? We are darn close. Just gonna have to take a little bit off of there. Just take this clamp off for a second. Oh, that screwed it up royally. Let's not take that clamp off for a second. Oops. Just when you thought you knew what you were doing, everything changes. Yeah, let's do it this way. Let's put this clamp in here. Way we're not really messing with that template too hard. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm looking at also, just to start off, see how, I don't know, I hope we're registering this. It seems like this is falling back. Like the center needs to come forward. Are we getting that? So when I push it like that, that to me looks like where it's supposed to be. Let's work with this. Wow, I just noticed Jamie and I are talking about keeping the original springs in this. This thing really rocks. Like it's really tippy. I know it has no shocks and no sway bars, but something for us to consider. Anyway, so yeah, there we go. We're gonna put that right in, and it does fit. But we're gonna trace the backside, and that's pretty cool. Look, we're gonna set that right in our mark. I like it. Let's come around to the inside. Let's trace this. So I'm gonna trace the whole thing, even though we don't need to cut the whole thing. I'll explain why in a quick second. So this is what we have, and that looks pretty cool, but we're gonna wanna stay outside of this marker because I'm sure I didn't get the whole of it, right? See, we're gonna need about that much. So let's cut this off And you can see, as long as this is touching that flat steel, this border, we're good. Let's trim it back. Put this in from the back side. Yeah, look at that. Cool. So this totally works. This is flat up against where the window should seal. That's cool. That's what I was getting at when I was setting that up with the clamps. Fortunately, I don't have clamps enough. Let's duplicate this and we're gonna screw this right in. Let's put this trace to the other one. Let's just see how this looks over here first. I'll just put this in here. Yeah, cool. So see, this is what I was trying to get at. That will attach the glass perfectly. Just like that. So yeah, just to keep this in shape, let's make another one of these and we're gonna screw them right in. Then we'll do the metal work. And if you can hear the doors back there, it is windy today again. We're gonna have a pretty wild spring. I'm not saying that this step is mandatory. In fact, I have only done this once before, but I just felt like it was worth pointing out because we did split this. You could see, if you can close up a little, this isn't exactly even. See, they're a little bit off, and this is just gonna give a little bit of security. So I also wanna thank someone in our community, our viewers, for sending in all this bag of screws. These are self-tappers for steel. They're gonna work here just perfect. So thanks for that, appreciate it. Another thing I wanna say is our P.O. box is closed for the moment. So please refrain from sending any goodies because they might get sent back. We're moving our P.O. box. It's like we moved ourselves, so bear with us. Let's put that on slow. Yeah, so I'm just gonna grip this little sheet metal shelf just a wee bit, and that'll help us keep the steel in shape. So does this clarify things? Glass is gonna stay flat. A little space here, but I'm not sure if there's some fabric or something back there. Let's just see. Might be a piece of the headliner stuck in there. Yeah, that's cool. Hold it right in. Let's do the other side. This is gonna be exciting because I'm right-handed. That was easy. Let's watch what the lefty does. I'm gonna be cussing and spitting and dropping things and all kinds of fun and adventure. Yeah, see, this one's a little bit different right there, and that's why we're doing this. Put one in the center. Come on, lefty, you got this. No. Come on, lefty, you got this. Oh, he starts off good. Got it. I think I'm gonna hop in the car. No. Let's just do this one. Then I'll hop in the car. I can see it getting away from me. Oh. Yeah, like a one-armed bandit in a windshield installing contest. Not working out well. Yeah, we're a little bit off right through here. See if I can swing that visor. Yeah, see that? This is bringing this up. It's a perfect example of why I want to do this. Otherwise, you end up with a gap. You don't want it to look funky, not in that way. All right. Let's do it right on the edge of that wood, and we did see a little issue. I'm gonna put some across the top here because we don't want to lose that. If the welds do cause it to distort or shrink a little bit. Come on, right handy. Yeah, awesome. That set this perfect. And that's really all you need is to make sure the glass looks right. Yep, sweet. Yeah, this side looks good. I'm gonna unclamp this for a split second. Set that back into place. Push this. Looking for parallel again. Now I had this piece of steel here. I'm gonna put that back in for clamp's sake. See, this is the thing. If you got a couple people working on this, it's gonna really help you. More hands, more better. Parallel, parallel. Yeah, come on. Everything's getting weird. All right. weld these things up. Weld right over the top first. That's gonna give us some pull in that direction, and then we'll get into these sides. There's a pretty good mismatch, and I know how to fix it. Little alignment right there. You can see what I'm trying to achieve with the layout. And then here is nice and together. That is messed up. So I'm going to pry this just a little bit this way, and I'm going to weld it all up. So I mentioned it was a little bit misaligned, and I really like using the little tab on the Sawzall blade. Watch that. See that? Perfect alignment. And I'll put the wire right in there. Just tap it. Get a little ball on there started, and just set it. Now this is a little bit different, so we can adjust that. Yeah. Cool. I'm gonna put my helmet on, do it to it. So this is all gonna get cut off, but I do want weld, so I'm gonna get in there as tight as I can and cut the weld off later. Now I'm welding this straight through because I want to be really strong. There's only one thin panel here, and a little filler there. That ain't gonna bug nobody. So I consider a little bit of misalignment on a pillar that big perfectly acceptable. Now, if you're gonna metal finish the car, you might do this way different. You might put this piece in. You know, it all depends, but I'm talking about what I'm up to right now. And I mentioned this on some other parts that I was welding. You see, I'm burning it really hot. I'm leaving a lot of steel there because that's going under as well. Let's hit this side. You know, for a good strong weld, you know, you see the way that this material is pushed outside. If that was sagged inside, you'd have that much reinforcement on the back side of the weld. That just adds up to more stronger. For metal finishing, it's not the case. Not the best way because you got to work that into shape. I'm just talking about strength. Let's check this. Same story. Just a little bit out. Let's pull that up. Actually, that does it right there. And always remember when you're doing this, you're welding, you're not painting. You're not just looking to put the weld on like you're applying paint. You're trying to fasten this, and you know, people are going to grab this thing, so think about that too. Let's go on the other side. I think the light's a little bit better. We'll explore this mismatch. All right, so you can see here, it's all messy, right? Nothing's lining up. Let's cut off this drip rail. I may hammer this up a bit and weld it together and just put a new top right on it. We're talking about maybe curving this back a little bit. I'm not sure. Let's get rid of this drip rail. All right, so the drip rail is where a lot of pieces come together, so we're gonna have to weld this up as well. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the big hammer, lump that in, we're gonna weld this, and we're gonna build a new cap. It'll hide that and finish this line. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Just by hammering it, I was able to just get that into shape. So even though it's spaced off, we're gonna leave that inside. It's gonna offer a lot of strength. I'm gonna weld this fully. You can see I really reached in and bulked up that whole area. I think I'm gonna swap over to the other side and get it to this position before I weld that, because as this shrinks, it's a gap, might draw it back a little bit. Yeah, same story right here. I'm gonna weld that right up. Watch your elbows, watch everything you're leaning over. It's all razor sharp. Saying that as much for me as for you. One thing to think about when you're welding vertical down like this, you could be tempted to put the heat like this, but that's just pushing it straight through the sheet. So if you do this, you're getting your heat and your weld bead to go on the inside of the car. So that means that much more metal is in there, should you grind it, etc. So see how I'm welding like this? So the arc is inside the car. The metal just falls out. Very similar technique to when you're welding pipe or structural steel. You know, you want that inside full penetration weld. And because, you know, this is very thin sheet metal, you want it as strong as possible. And by dropping this far down with the weld, you see I'm welding the old parts of the drip rail in. I don't know if you noticed how easy it burned through because the pieces aren't attached on the outside edge. They're attached inside with a pinch weld. So this sheet actually comes in and turns. So when you cut off the drip rail, this is wide open. See? Good example. I burned right through right there if you could see it. Cool. Let's get this. Same thing as the other side. Since this is going to be inside, just putting a big heavy weld to give it the support. All right, yeah, so that drip rail is all attached. I'm going to weld this one straight through. Backside. I'll show you over there. Let me just handle this. I capture the end so it doesn't warp out of shape and come right into the old weld. I'm going to build it until it gets too hot. When it gets too hot, it's going to fall away. Right there, see? So I'll hip to this side. And the reason I did that here is because the corner, you want it to be as strong as possible. More metal, more better. That's getting real hot. Over to here. Close it up. See that? A little mismatch, but we're gonna cap this and make it all look new again. Just gonna hit this drip rail area while this is cooling down. I guess you're seeing all this smoke. It's pretty typical of old cars to have flammables in them. So I'm not sure. I don't see any sparks, but something's burning. So we're gonna have to check on that if it doesn't go out on its own. What I'm gonna do now is we got this space in here. These are locked pretty well, so I'm gonna take one clamp off. All right, so I got this center set up. I'm gonna put this piece in here. I'm gonna push it forward to lock it just a touch. Yeah, like that. Boom. Cool. Just trying to get this started so I can eventually move past the clamps. A little reinforcement inside. So I got this clamped. What I'm going to do is I'm going to push forward on this little window shape here. I'm going to lock this right in. So this is a little bit of inside reinforcement before we put the outside skin on. Put this clamp back on. It's a little back and forth action, right? Take this one off. I think on the inside, because I don't see it, I'm just gonna wrap this piece right through. It's gonna be stronger. What I'm getting at is, with this one, I put it inside in this channel, but this one I'm gonna put on the outside. So I'm gonna make it about that big. Push this under here, right? I'm gonna fold it, and I'm gonna come up. So pretty much, I'll bring it back, but this is a 90-degree bend, and then this goes on the underside of this. So I'm gonna weld in this space here, then clamp it. That is gonna make it super strong. Yeah, that looks good. I got this locked. Now I'm gonna lock this. Yeah, like that. Weld it shut. Pull the camera back and show it once I get it welded. All right, little review of what happened. I put in that first piece, welded that, brought the clamp over, put the piece under, welded all together, some welds here, and there's a little mismatch on the underside, but after I put the top rail, that'll really solidify it. Then I'll get in and do the underneath. All right, so this surface is looking good. This is looking good. Not sure how we're gonna finish this yet. We're just concentrating on this part. Let's find that piece. So this, so you can see the difference, right? It's considerably different just from chopping it. See, this was up here. That's what all the mismatch is about. So maybe, why don't we try this? We know we're not gonna be above this point. So where this stops curving, you can see right about here, I think is the apex of that way. Let's cut that right off. We'll piece this in. A little faster than the grinding disc. So we know we're not going to need this stuff. So let's get in with the cutting disc. Let's cut it all out. Cut this whole thing off. Do it right here on the fender. Actually, no. Let's not do it on the fender because it looks kind of cool. Let's not scratch it all up. Doesn't that simplify things? Let's check it out. Yeah, so when we're putting this in, see, I think we're gonna weld this right to the car. But let's do this. We don't want to disrupt that weld. So let's just notch this a little bit, and then we're gonna take this. So the idea is we're gonna move this forward a bit, but this is never gonna attach to the door. The door's gonna swing beneath it. Close, but no cigar. Got a lot of it good. But we're gonna trim. I think everybody knows what's going to be trimmed right now. So all this looks good. Let's just pull this right to there. We're gonna need this to come in. A little more to there, and we're good. Coming in again. Yeah. Now we got something we can work with. Cool. One more revision, because I'm still not 100%. Take this down, and that, and that. Be right back. Yeah, now we're in the ballpark. Cool, yeah, good. Cool, let's weld that on. And this gap, remember, the door's gonna swing, so we need a gap there. So what I'm looking at is this height here. Just trying to keep that even. I'm looking up here, and remember, all the drip rail stuff has to get dialed in. The welds are gonna be pretty wide. And you never know what you're going to run into. There could be lead in there, seam sealer, who knows what. But might be a little sloppy. The things that just burn it. Hear all that yucky old stuff burning away in there? That's the goal. Get it be clean steel. The door is a little bit in here. That really is one of the things about old cars. It's never 100%, right? I'm just gonna pull that out. And you can see for the door gap, we're gonna wanna add metal here. And of course, all that'll get ground in. This gap's a little bit big. So even that out. This gap's big, but we're gonna cap the door. You dig? So we're gonna have the opportunity to decrease that gap a little bit. But you come over here and fill these holes, and we'll get up here and finish that. Saw messed around with this a little bit. Let's try to refine it. As I messed around, it warped it. Hold it a little bit out of shape. Be able to work all that out once we start welding. Yeah, cool. All right, let's finish this up. I'm gonna put a wire in there like we do sometimes. As you can see, this is pretty labor intensive. I'm gonna grind all this stuff off and see where we're at. Not gonna waste all of our time with doing both sides right now. The whole key here was to get this drip rail welded in, and now it does have a nice little turn. This will get finished. The door swings under. Is that dangerous? Yeah, it is. We're probably gonna end that a little bit nicer, but I was able to pull that door forward just a touch to make it line up. Got that gap in order for grinding. I'm gonna grind the heck out of all this. And I think we're good for today. We got our windshield. One last thing I'm going to do is take and cut it off here. It's going to help me in terms of finalizing this side looks-wise. There'll be some more finish work, of course, because there always is. Finish in here, top and bottom, then connect this on the inside, but that's a very simple angle, and then figure out what to do about this. Probably just cut this off right here. Let me do that. And when you open, it's nothing too dramatic, and it really does help that look. Probably don't need these visors. I don't know, for the looks, let's just take it off. It's really just gonna help it. We can always find something different to put on there. And our tube will come through. I'm gonna have to get some. Yeah, this tube is way too heavy. This is 1/8 wall. But in the end, something like that Just finishing off the top so it'll be strong and you can grab to it. All right, things take time. Got a little more progress today. That's what our windshield's looking like. I'm happy with the height, happy with the way that this detail turned out. Pretty cool. Little turn around into the door. And yeah, chopped Merc. What's coming up next? Besides a ton of finishing work, more bug, more little jewel, maybe even some Zephyr. Whoosh. We got a transmission in the corner. Heck yeah. See you next time.